everybody, I am Julie Kerr, writer and director of the indie, nerdy comedy Geek Loves Punk. And in this episode, I'm going to be talking about why I like X-Men, the comic books. There's also the 90s cartoon, and yes, I am one of those 90s kids who, man, that cartoon really got us 90s kids through. That cartoon was so good. Okay, so yes, there's the 90s cartoon. There's also like movies, but I'm going to talk about X-Men the comics because, yeah, X-Men the comics, that's what got me into the nerd stuff. I even had an X-Men t-shirt. Okay, when I was a kid. Right now I'm wearing a Deadpool t-shirt, but you can't, there you go, now you can see it. Deadpool, okay, yeah, okay. So, I'm going to talk about why I like X-Men. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is, I want to say, like, I want to show you my comic books. So I have two comic book boxes behind this camera, and I had to dig deep. So these are my newer comics, but I wanted to show you the comics from, these comics are straight up from the 1990s when I was a kid and I was buying comics. So, okay, so like I have, this one's kind of tore up, but, oh, when I was a kid, I grew up in a small town, Virginia, and so there were no comic shops where I grew up. It's like a really small farm town. So the only way I could get comics was at the grocery store, like near the magazines. That's where you could buy comics. And then every once in a while we would drive to like a more city area and we go to a bookstore, and that's where I could get more comics. But when I think about how dedicated I was as a comic book collector, first of all, props to my parents for buying these for me, one. But two, the fact that, you know, the only place I could get these were at the grocery store. So I was a very dedicated comic book fan. Like when we went to the grocery store, I would run to the magazine aisle and look for the comics, and that's where I'd find the comics. So these comics really got me through. Okay, so give or take, like, I can say, like, there's really great things about how I grew up, for sure, like, so many blessings. But at the end of the day, it took me a long time to realize that I grew up in an abusive home, and so I'm realizing the stuff you like when you're going through a tough time of it, it really helps you. So, yeah, so I'll show you the comics, and then I'll explain to you why I like X-Men. But this one's really toe up, but the art's really good. It's Colossus, and he's mad. He's having a bad day. That's Iceman and that's Bishop. And look, it says right here, I got it at Walmart for $1.12. It must have been on sale. But yeah. Okay, so that's another comic from the 90s. These are my 90s comics. These comics got me through, you guys. I have a whole box of them. Here's Wolverine. He's really cool. This is from the 90s. Wow. Okay. This is like the X-Force. They were cool. Yeah, that's old school X-Force. Okay. Then this is more X-Men. This is when Generation X became a thing. So that is that's Sabretooth and Wolverine, but they're actually the Phalanx. Yeah. Anyway, so this is kind of cool. Okay. And this is my favorite, one of my favorite all-time X-Men characters. So this is Jubilee, and she looks sad because she's leaving the X-Men. And you can see all the X-Men in the back. Okay, great comics. Okay. Fast forward many years later, because I'm 38 years old now. And I went to a comic book convention back in November before COVID-19 was like a thing. And I think it was this past, it might have been a year or two ago. But, okay, yeah, it might have been a year or two ago. But I went to, they had like a San Francisco Comic Con, which is ironically located, it actually takes place in Oakland, which is the best city in the world. I live in Oakland. Okay, so I could walk to the Comic Con. Okay, so this is X-Men 1992. It's just really cool. And it's basically all the X-Men, the 90s X-Men. So they're in their little 90s outfits. You got Jubilee, she's my favorite. They're reading, like, they're watching, like, Oh right, they're actually in a music store where you buy CDs and stuff. That's so cool. Okay, so this is kind of an homage to 90s comics, X-Men comics. And then this is Jubilee again, just because she's cool. And she's got her own comic. Alright, okay. So, the first thing I really like about the X-Men, the comic books, is that it gave me a world to like escape to. And the world was multifaceted, it was huge, it was exciting, it had all these places you could go to. So the world building in the X-Men was really, really, really cool. And so just reading those comics allowed me to go to a place, a place where I had friends. So I had friends, I had friends, I had friends in elementary school, but I've always had this feeling of like not fitting in. So yeah, in elementary school I just didn't necessarily fit in. It was fine, elementary school was fine, but I didn't necessarily fit in, you know. And then I was in an abusive home. So it was rough, but I did have the comic books as one of the things that helped me get through it. And just every time I read I could read them over and over and over again and just go into that world, and it was just really cool. It really lit up my imagination. The second thing I really like about the X-Men comics, all the X-Men, like, usually with their superpowers, it comes with some sort of sacrifice, you know what I mean? Like the idea that when when his metal claws come out, that it hurts every time they come out. You know, like that. That's kind of cool. Yeah, or like, at least in the comics, when Rogue, she can't touch anybody because if she touches somebody, she takes their powers. Like, so she's powerful and she can fly and she can like, you know, like punch people and stuff, but she can't really touch anybody. So that's kind of, like it's sad and stuff. So, but basically, like, the X-Men, they have these really cool powers where they can do really cool stuff with them, but there comes, like, kind of a sacrifice to it. And there's a certain kind of poetry to that in the sense that, like, I don't know, basically, for us regular people, that sometimes life is going to be hard just because that's how life is, but we can still be awesome and use our awesomeness to do good in the world. The way, like, Wolverine helps people with his like, you know, his claws and stuff in the comics. So yeah, so the second thing I like about it is that, like, the X-Men, you know, like, they're superheroes, but they're superheroes who struggle a little bit, and it makes us regular people feel less alone knowing that, hey, if superheroes struggle, the X-Men struggle, then it's okay when us regular people struggle sometimes too. So it's a cool message. The third thing I really like about X-Men is that reading the comics and learning about the characters and going into that world, it just made me feel a lot less alone. At a time where I was feeling lonely. For me, it would have been like 3rd or 4th grade elementary school. And so Stan Lee, the guy who created X-Men and a bunch of other characters, Stan Lee for sure was a genius. And give or take, his reputation was that he was, like, a really good person. You know what I mean? He was a really, like, decent guy. And so he believed in the characters he was creating. Because, like, back comics were seen as kind of, like, alternative or, like, weird. So, but it's just, so it's so cool that these superhero movies are so popular now. But yeah, oh yeah, Stan Lee was a genius, but he really believed in what his characters were doing. He really believed in the material that he was writing. So when he created the X-Men and just made it that they're born with their superpowers, and because of that, the world's kind of mean to them. That was created around the time of the 1960s, when the civil rights movement was becoming, like, a thing. So yeah, it's just kind of cool that Stan Lee created these characters who struggle and who have to deal with people being mean to them, and then they didn't choose to be to have claws, or you know, whatever their thing is. Like the character Storm, she can create these awesome storms. She can control the weather essentially. That's a really cool power. But basically, she didn't choose to have that power. She was born with it. And the fact that she has to deal with all this like mean, not cool discrimination because of it is not good. But she stays a superhero anyway, and that's really cool. So yeah, the reason why I like the X-Men comics is they made me feel less alone in the world. So even if I look at these comics now, they just make me feel happy. Okay, so, and that's why I like the X-Men comics. I think they're really cool, and I totally recommend X-Men comics. I haven't gone to a comic shop in a while because of COVID-19, but, you know, hopefully they'll find a vaccine soon. Alright, well, I welcome you to read X-Men comics, and because they're really cool, and I hope you all have a great day, and talk to y'all later. Bye! Hey everybody, did you super love this video? Thanks so much for watching. Like it, subscribe it, ring that bell, and leave me a comment or question, and I'll totally answer any questions or comment back. You're super awesome. Do you like super awesome romantic comedies that are independent and nerdy? Then I've got the movie for you. Written and directed by yours truly, Julie Kerr. That's me. This movie is called Geek Loves Punk, and it's super funny and super thoughtful. And it's exclusively available on my website, www.juliekerrstudios.com. Link right here. Okay, so if you go mosey on over to my website, it's a super fun, awesome website. That's where you can watch the movie, and you keep the movie forever. You can stream it and download it. Also, if you go head on over to my website, you can join my email list where you will get discounts to my movie and other products that I have. And also, if you join my email list, you'll immediately get access to my 5 daily strategies on how to cultivate more love, joy, and kindness into your life every day. Alrighty, so you have the best day ever. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Julie Kerr. I'll talk to you guys later.